The first Berserker Khazan. Is it Khazan? Khazan. The newest, hottest anime style, cel-shaded, Souls-like to grace your gaming console of choice. What is it on? It's on Xbox, I think, PS5, PC. Now, we just beat it. Just now beat the final boss. You guys, I think I have like 50 hours in this game. That's just one playthrough, and it's not even a full playthrough. Like, I did a number of the side things, but I didn't exhaust everything at all. Not even barely. If you did a full playthrough of this game, and you did all the side quests and optional stuff, I feel like you're at like 60, 70 hours in one playthrough. So yeah, it's a Souls-like through and through if you are unfamiliar with this game. I feel like this might be one of the sleeper hits, kind of this year. You know, I know it was successful right when it came out, which is cool, but like, I don't know. I feel like more people will find their way to this game as time goes on, and we'll have some more discourse surrounding this game, I hope, because it is a good game. So I'm going to say right out of the way for this review, it's good. I think this is a great game. I do. And I think it's worth the full price. It's a full price game. Like $69. But it's worth it. I mean, I just got over 50 hours, I think, in one playthrough. This took me about as long as like Black Myth Wukong did, which is a huge game. So I just think it's totally worth it, especially if you're into Souls-like games. This checks all the boxes. You're going to be feeling right at home. You know, you've got the bonfire shrine things that rejuvenate and all the enemies respawn and everything. But I will say, oh, and of course, the emphasis on the challenging stuff and the fighting big bosses that are super hard and losing your souls when you die if you don't get back to them and stuff. But this game does do a number of things to switch up the formula, which I actually really appreciated. Some of them were so obvious that I'm surprised that I haven't seen another Souls-like game experiment with them, but I'm happy that Khazan did. I'm trying to think about where I want to start, because here's the thing. Just to get it right out of the way out of the gate, best thing about this game is the combat. 100%. The combat in this game is, honest to God, I think probably the best out of any of these Souls-like games, and probably even better, at least for my money, than a lot of the mainline Souls games, aside from like maybe something like Sekiro, which has a more emphasis on the combat elements and stuff. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I enjoyed this more in terms of the moment-to-moment combat. I enjoyed this more than Lies of P, than Stellar Blade. It's a toss-up with Black Myth. I really enjoyed Black Myth, but it's up there. This combat is so good. It is so fluid, and the way that you can chain all these combos together in interesting ways, that I was still finding new ways to even link things together at the end of the game. So I did the Greatsword I just beat it. I did the Greatsword all the way through the game. You've got 3 weapons to choose from, pretty much right at the beginning. You start out with dual wield, which is like an axe and a sword. And right at the beginning, they expose you to the dual wield weapons, which is just what I said. And then a spear, which is like kind of longer reach and fast. And then the Greatsword, which is big bonk, obviously. And I did the Greatsword the whole way through. I didn't switch it up. So, I mean, to this game's credit, I don't think I got to any boss or anywhere that I was like completely stuck to where I had to change my build. I did move points around, like my skills and abilities. I maybe took some back and put them somewhere else, which thankfully the game is very generous and just lets you refund whenever you want. It just kind of respec your abilities like on the fly, which is cool. So I did Greatsword all the way, and I gotta say, this has got to be the most satisfying Greatsword I think I've ever felt in a game, okay? Like, yes, there's games with a bigger Greatsword, if we're thinking about like Monster Hunter or other stuff with like a huge bonk, but like this game, the Greatsword is just so fun to use because it has this heavy hitting impact, but it's also fast in a way that a lot of other games can't really achieve with the Greatsword. I feel like I'm guts playing this game. There's no other game I think that's come closer. In fact, it's so much so that I wish they almost gave me a couple areas in this level, in some of these levels, with just like a horde of like 50 lesser enemies, and you just cut through them with the great sword, just blood going everywhere, man. I would have loved that, you know? In fact, that's another thing I like about this game is the blood, dude. Excuse me. The whole style is cool, man. It's got this cel-shaded kind of anime style to the characters, while the backdrops and the world is a little bit more realistic and not like that. But it's got like blood just splattering out of enemies. It's really, really, really satisfying. One thing is it's more like Neo, I feel like, than it's like a blend of the Souls games, a number of them, but heavy emphasis on Neo. Because it isn't open world or linear open or anything. It's mission based. That might turn some people off. I actually like it. And I was down with the mission based thing in Neo too. But this does a very, very, very similar thing. Where you go to these big, you know, portal stones. I forgot what they call them. And you pick a mission, go there, fight your way through the mission. There's probably a boss at the end. You beat it. You're teleported back to the crevice. And that's just like the hub area. And then you pick another mission and keep going. So it's like broken into missions like Neo is. And there's other similarities with Neo a lot. I feel like while this game takes a lot of inspiration from the various Souls likes and Souls games, it took quite a bit from Neo in particular. So if you are a fan of Neo, then that's even better because you're probably going to love this. But damn, this game is hard. Am I ranking the bosses or moving on? I don't know. I'll let you guys help me decide. I was going to rank the bosses. We still can if you want. We can take a look. I feel kind of burnt out, but, you know, I'm down, I guess. We could talk about it. This game has a difficulty option, by the way. It's got normal and easy. I don't really know what exactly changes in easy because I didn't ever try it, but I would imagine the stuff, I would hope stuff has some less health and maybe you hit harder. Because the spongy health in this game of these bosses is out of this world. Okay, so let's just get to what is great about this game, and then we'll get to what I don't love as much, or like where it kind of didn't, I wouldn't even say didn't stick the landing, but just wasn't as high of a mark. But the stuff I like, first and foremost, is the combat. It is just so good, I'm telling you, man. If I'm going to rate how the combat feels to swing the greatsword around and to play the game, it's like a 10. It's seriously that good. So shout out to Neopol, the dev, for making it that satisfying, and I can't wait to see what they make next, for real. Like, I am on board for whatever they do next. It's that kind of game, you know, where I'm excited to see what they can do now. But love the combat. I do love the cel-shaded style. I love the anime look. I love some of the things they added, these little spices to the Souls formula. Like when you die at a boss, your souls, in this game is called lacrima or something, but your souls get left right there outside the boss door. And you actually gain experience, lacrima, fighting the boss. And this was, honest to God, I think one of my favorite things about this game. It sounds so simple, but when you start doing it in practice, it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing because what it does is you get to a boss, fight the boss, you die, and pretend the boss is really hard. And then you've got the choice. I either keep fighting this boss over and over and over, or I go grind and try to level up and get stronger and come back, you know, like you might do in something like Elden Ring or one of these other games. But in this game, if you choose to just keep grinding and fighting the boss, you're leveling up while doing that. So it actually kind of fits even this whole kind of anime aesthetic of this game where you're just getting stronger, leveling up. Man, I'm solo leveling out here, bro. And so that was great. I loved that because I don't want to go grind little enemies and come back. I would love to just keep practicing the boss, but be rewarded for it. So what that did is it took off a lot of the sting of being stuck at a boss for an extended period of time. Because you'd be stuck there, you know, dying over and over, but you're leveling up. So like every like few deaths, you might go back to the thing and put some stat points in and go back in and fight him again. Like you're just, it's constant progression, and that was great. Okay. Another huge props to this game is the bosses themselves. Wow. Someone's got to look up the number. I don't remember how many, Good number of bosses, though. Pretty solid chunk. I want to say, like, what, between 10 and 20? Probably more like 15, 20. Really, really impressive bosses. Really mostly fair. And mostly, we'll get there, fun to fight bosses. Visually, very impressive. The music, too. In a lot of these boss fights and these cinematic situations, very good. I loved it all. 16 main bosses. That's good. So the bosses are another highlight. So if we were rating this game off of only what I just said, so like the combat, the bosses, the new stuff they added to the formula, we're at like a 10. That's where this game started with me, was like a 10. Okay? It was that good. Okay? And I do just love the savagery of this game. That can't be understated, by the way. Not enough people are talking about that. This game, this is like the manliest, most savage Berserk Souls-like game ever, dude. It feels so good just tearing through shit. It gets bonus points. It's like I beat the first level and my shirt burst open with hair just popping off my chest. It was so savage, bro. I love it. So all that shit's like a 10. But now to talk about some of the stuff that I just think that was just a little off. And none of this is bad, by the way. None of what I'm about to say is like so bad that I'm like, the game is bad. You know, the game is great. I recommend this game for sure. But with that said, first and foremost, these bosses have so much health, at least on normal difficulty. Remember, it's just normal and easy. So I just went with normal. Oh my lord, bro. Some of these bosses, the health pool is so big that even if you're leveled up and you're doing like adequate amounts of damage, you're like just whittling their life bar down like a little rock and chisel. It's insane. Like it's barely moving down, you know? And they've got a posture bar. Like something like Sekiro or these other games that have a posture bar where you're trying to get their stamina or their posture down to where when it's down, you can get like a visceral kind of stab move, you know? But it's so hard to whittle it down and then their health just goes so slow. And what happens is I started to wear on this game midway through. And I know you guys following along at home with the streams probably noticed. It's not like I ever wanted to stop. Like I really was enjoying the game. I mean, I've been playing this for over 2 weeks straight now, every day. And so it really did keep me going, but it was sucking the energy out of me, especially with some of these bosses, because what would happen, I think it's a matter of just balancing the numbers. I really do think it's that easy. I think they could fix this just by tweaking some of these numbers. Because what happens is, it takes so long to whittle them down, and then they'll typically have like a phase 2 or even a phase 3. And so if you die in phase 2 or phase 3, it's such a punch to the gut because you're like, oh my God, now I have to make it through phase 1 again, which takes so long. And so my main takeaway is this. I play all of these games. You know what I'm saying? I do all the Souls games, most of the Souls likes that come out, you know, and I'm very used to these crushing difficulty of these bosses. You know, it's nothing new to me, but I did feel this like burnout in this game that to a level that I don't feel in the other ones. I'm just got to be honest. It's true. And I have seen some people in my comments agreeing with this take. Okay. People are like taking a break a little bit and coming back and like, I get it. But it's because if you compare it to another game, and I just keep using Sekiro because it is kind of similar, which by the way, the gameplay mechanics are everything you'd expect. You've got the Souls-like dodge with the iframes, but you've got more. And I think that's what made this combat so good. You've got even several different kinds of parries. Like you do have a perfect parry, which if you time it at the right time, it does posture damage, and you can even add an ability like I did, where it does health damage a little bit each time you do a perfect parry. So I leaned into the perfect parry like 90% of the game. I was mainly parrying and not dodging. So if you're big on like the perfect parry kind of Sekiro type thing, you're going to like this game. It's true. But then you also get these even bigger kind of skill-based parries where like you put a skill point in, like the reflection slam, where it's a parry that like takes more time to do, so it's harder to time, but it's like a bigger hit and it does more damage and posture damage and all this, staggers them. So what this does is like while you're fighting, you're like calculating all this in your head. Like, do I need to dodge? Do I need to parry it? Do I have time to do the bigger, cool reflection parry to maybe capitalize on it? Do I need to do I forgot what it's called, but this game has that thing Neo has where when the enemy's attacking, this symbol will pop up and you do an attack right then. It's like a third kind of parry and it will interrupt that. So there's just like a lot going on here. And they all work really, really, really well together. Like there was not a lot of those moments where I was like in the middle of an attack, but then the symbol came out and I had to hit it last minute and it would still connect. Like it always worked. Like it just plays really, really well. Really good. So that is all great. But back to what I was saying is if you take a game like Sekiro and just picture you're fighting a boss in Sekiro or a lot of those other games, probably all of them, the fights are shorter. So even if you're walking out into like the final boss, like the Sword Saint in Sekiro, whether you win or die, it's probably not going to go on longer than like 5 minutes. You know, I'd have to go back and look to get the official numbers. I don't remember, but it feels like you walk into the boss arena and, you know, probably 5 minutes or under, you're either dead or the boss is dead. It's very hard, but it's quicker. So if you die, it makes it more painless to just run back in and do it again. With this game, some of these bosses started going so long with such little windows to punish them. I'm thinking about ones like Hismar, the dragon, or the final boss, or the shield, Elamane with the shield. Like, so when I'm in there for like what feels like 10 minutes or more, and then I die, it is so grueling. It's grueling. So there's something off about the balance, in my opinion. Slightly. I don't think it was the worst thing in the world, and I think you could just switch it to easy mode and have fun. You know, I'm just stubborn, obviously. But I just do think as somebody that's pretty experienced with all these kinds of games, there was something off. There's something a little bit off in the balance. You know, sure, we could pull up a video of some pro that's killing everything in 2 minutes, but like, come on, you're not a pro and I'm not a pro, okay? And so for the vast majority of us, it's going to be like that. I just think they need to be dialed back. Like they need to go quicker or something, man. It's too much, okay? So that's my one big critique that I do think started to wear on me as I went further into the game, okay? Second critique. And this is just cut and dry. Environments. Not that great. Not that great. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Now, the boss designs look fucking awesome. The character designs are great. It's not even a thing of the graphics. But the environments and just the overall environmental design just left a lot to be desired for me. It did. It's actually one of the things that I like the least. There just wasn't any of those like breathtaking reveals that you get in these games or vistas, you know, and I guess sure in a mission-based one like this, like Neo, you kind of get less of those big reveals, but this one had environments closer to Souls type games or Elden Ring type looking stuff, or at least it was trying to. But there was no moments like, you know, when you're playing a Souls game and you're fighting some hard boss or fighting your way through some hard level, and then you finally like beat it and come out of this cave and you see like the whole landscape reveal with the name that comes up of the place and it looks amazing. You don't have those moments in this game. Nothing looks that good. Nothing. But it seems like the game still tries to do that, because you'll like get to a new area and it will like do this zoom out and then flash the title of the area, but it's just like this bland, foggy nothingness. It just didn't look good, you know? And a lot of the areas seem pretty repetitive looking. As you make your, like by the time I was at like, I don't even know, like the 4th or 5th area, they kind of just started feeling like the same ruins or same temple with just kind of different colors and I don't know. That is one area. Let's put it this way. Neopol nailed the gameplay. They nailed the gameplay and the bosses, I think, in a big way. They just need to step up the environmental, everything about the environment and the graphics and the landscapes and even in the levels you're making your way through. Like, I couldn't shake this feeling, by the way. I don't know for sure. I really don't. It almost felt like some of these areas had like a little bit of AI feel to them, like almost like they used AI to like make this labyrinth, but then, went in and touched it up or something. Because you'll just find like weird things. Like, you'll go down a walkway, like, like if you're playing like Dark Souls, it'll be this labyrinthian kind of castle environment, but it kind of makes sense at least. It kind of makes sense. This game will just be like a walkway down to just like a dead end and then like a side room, but then like nothing in it. Like, it just almost feels like it was like AI and then they polished it up, but I don't know for sure. I really don't know for sure. But that does lead me to my final kind of critique. Yeah. Remember the campfire we found? Exactly. Right. Like, we found like what I said, we found this like skinny walkway and then there was just like a campfire there, but it was like off center, like half clipping through the wall. Like, sure, it could have just been a mistake that someone put it there, but I don't know. A lot of the areas kind of just had that vibe to me, which brings me to the next and kind of the last big critique that I have is it just goes on too long. The game, in my opinion, goes on too long. And this could be debated. Obviously, you want to get your money's worth out of a game. But to me, at least, there comes a point where it just feels like filler when you just keep giving me these levels that are so similar. So here, let me walk you through it. So when I did the first area, I don't remember what they call them, but like the first big area with the different missions in it, I did every side mission because it was a new game. I was excited about it. So I did all the main missions because the game's got side missions that work kind of like Neo. But then here's what happened. So then I'm like, well, let's check out the side missions because it's also a great way to level up and get gear and stuff too. I'm like, well, let's do the side missions. I did every single side mission in the first area. And it was the same thing every time. Where you do a side mission, it's just the same thing as one of the main missions, but like a different time of day or something. So again, kind of like Neo. And then at the end of the mission would be a boss that you've already fought that's just like a slightly different name. And he's like a spectral ghost form or some kind of different spin on it, right? It might be harder. But it's essentially like a reskinned boss. So it was the same in every side mission in the first area. So then we get to the second area. And I tried one or two of the side missions and it was the same thing. Same thing. Like the same area, same level, different time of day, same boss at the end, but slightly different name. And then I stopped doing side missions. Because like, why would I do? I don't want to, right? That's just me. Some people are down with the grind, not me. Especially when your game is already so long that for me to do side stuff, bro, you gotta like, it's gotta be compelling. Like, to compare it to Black Myth, for example, all the side stuff in that game was pretty compelling. I mean, you'd go off the beaten path and find some crazy optional side boss, but it would be its whole unique thing. This was just like, so by the time I got to the second area and realized that every single side mission was like this and just had the same boss, I stopped doing the side stuff. I did. That was it for me. And then so to piggyback on that point, I was getting burnt out on these levels, man. It was like I was just trying to get to the next boss. Somewhere around like the third or the fourth area in, it was just becoming a slog to make it through these levels. And let me tell you, that final level where you're leading up to the final boss, it's just entirely unnecessary, dude. Entirely. I feel like this game would have been better off if somewhere from like starting with like the final third boss all the way to the end, you had like a boss gauntlet or something. Like, you fight this boss, you just go a little bit this way, then this boss, and then the final happens. Like, it was just so crazy that even 40, 50 hours in, it gave me a whole other level to fight through with just like the most annoying enemies. And this whole level, I hated the final level. The stupid bats and the floating platforms and rotating, kind of like wannabe crumbling Azula area. Hated it, dude. I just started running by everything that I could to get to the final boss in the last level. I was so burnt out because at that point too, they just start cramming like the hardest, most annoying enemies that will buff themselves, and then even life steal. They'll steal your life when you hit them. It just takes so long to make your way through. I was burnt out. I was burnt out by it, bro. So yeah, I think they could have shaved off, in my opinion, I think they could have shaved off some of the stuff in the end game here and focused more on the environments that they already have, making them better. Maybe even a little bit more enemy variety. There is a good amount of enemy variety here. There is. But you do start to see repeats throughout the whole game, you know, in the different areas. So, like, as you can tell, I hope, my main takeaways is they nailed everything related to the gameplay and the combat and the bosses and all that stuff, okay? Loved it. They didn't quite hit that level of mark with the environments and, you know, the repetitiveness and the side content and all that stuff. A couple other extra bonuses that I did like. I loved the armor and the set pieces. This game has got this, again, kind of like Neo. You know, you're getting loot. You're getting RNG loot with stats and stuff. But they're set pieces like Neo. But I like them in this game. They're kind of, I don't know, they're like easier to understand and they're kind of simplified and they all look really cool. So if you've got like the Berserker helm and then the Berserker chest and legs, you get like a different stat buff for each set piece and you can get a full set of armor that all matches. I like that. And it all looks really, really, really cool. Yeah. And so that leaves us with like the final verdict, you guys. No, it doesn't. I have one more thing to say. And this might be the hottest take. I'm going to say it though. It's been in my gut and I got to say it. You know how when you're playing a Souls-like, you can obviously pick out the inspiration, you know, and not like in a rip-off kind of way, you know. Like when I play Lies of P, I'm not like, oh, they've got like a bonfire type thing I sit at. You ripped off Souls. You know, like games, in my opinion, like Lies of P or Black Myth, if you consider that a Souls-like, or Stellar Blade or whatever, they do enough to differentiate themselves and have their own identity, you know. Like when you're playing Lies of P, sure, it's very Souls-like, even Bloodborne kind of style aesthetics, especially at the start. But it's got its own identity, like woven throughout, you know, with the puppet stuff and Pinocchio, and it does enough to differentiate for me. I would argue that this game is walking the finest line any of these have ever walked. And I'm not even saying like it's a ripoff. I just mean it wears its inspiration on its sleeve so heavily that the entire time going through the game, I was just like, oh, I'm in, we have crumbling Azula at home. Oh, I'm in, we have the poison swamp at home. Oh, you know, like all the way down to like every environment, every enemy, I'm like, oh, that's the bat thing from Elden Ring. Oh, he's doing that one move from Dark Souls. Oh, it's like the Soul of Cinder. Like, so many environments. Like, I can literally do a whole video of a side-by-side. And, like, every location in this game, I could give you a counter location from one of the Souls games that it's, like, clearly inspired from. And that goes to the enemies, too. And even some of the stuff with the bosses. You know what I mean? I don't want to give it away because spoilers, but like there's some stuff that's like so right on the nose that I kind of feel like it works in this game's detriment, because one problem with this game is it just lacks this core identity of its own. It's got a style. It's cel shaded. I like the main character. He's a badass. It's got a story here. But if I'm going to be real, you guys, I have no idea what happened in this game. None. And I know that happens to me all the time anyway, because I'm you know, streaming and talking to the chat and I'm distracted and I'm sometimes not paying attention. But it doesn't happen to this degree with other games I play. I have no idea what happened in this game. I have like vague plot points. And then at the end, you know, bad wizard man, bad. I got to stop him. Like, it's just the story is like serviceable. It's like a 6, you know, something like a 6 or a 7 at best. But so because of that, and then on top of the fact that all of these areas and even the enemies in a lot of ways are inspired so heavily by other existing areas that I've played, this game lacks this identity of its own. It lacks its identity of its own, bro. It just needs it's like I wish they shaved off the last 10 to 15 hours of the final levels and just worked on uniquifying everything. That's all. But I guess the saving grace is the gameplay is so good and all the stuff they did right is so right that it really does carry this game. It carries the game, you know? So, I mean, I made it all the way to the end of the game. I beat the entire game, you know? 50 hours. I was committed. So it clearly wasn't really bad, but I just want that to be out there. I think it's true what I just said. So final verdict, you guys, type it in the chat. Whether you played the game or not, leave a comment. What do you think? What's it look like to you? What was it to you? From 0 to 10. You know where I'm at? I'm at an 8 out of 10. I'm at an 8 out of 10. And I'll tell you now, I could go 7. I couldn't go 9, but I could go 7. There were moments in this game where I was at 7. There was. So I'm like, you know, somewhere nestled between 7 and 8. But luckily, the reason that score is so high is because, in my opinion, at least for what I care about, they did nail what matters most, which is the gameplay and the combat. And I do think that Neopol could improve on everything that I said with the next game. You know, like if they took what they've learned here and applied it to the next game, could be absolutely phenomenal. Okay? Chocolate Milk says, you 100%ed this game, you'd give it a 9. Well, that's great. I am happy that you loved it. And I really do urge people to try it if you're into this genre. It's one of the good ones. But let us know, Chocolate Milk, like, what do you think about my critiques? Do you think I'm on point with any of these, or do you disagree? You know, let us know. I'm at an 8 out of 10. For my money's worth, for the hours I got out of it, the boss fights alone were so cool. Some of these boss fights really were incredibly memorable and just stylized, so cool with the cel-shaded style. I did love the vast majority of these boss fights. I think there's only like maybe 2. I don't want to spoil it in the review. Oh, you think I'm on point. You still think it's a 9, but you think I'm on point. That's fair. So I don't want to spoil the bosses. Maybe we'll do a boss rank and then I'll spoil everything. There was only maybe 2. There was only like 2 that I thought could have been maybe improved. But and that's pretty good out of 16. If there's only 2 that I think could have been a bit better, and I don't even think they were terrible. They just could have been a bit better. And then all the other ones were like really, really good. So 8 out of 10 for me. And then if you're curious where I slot this in like the Souls-like games, you know, where's it rank? Now, it depends on whether or not you consider Black Myth Wukong to be Souls-like. I do. We could argue back and forth, but I do, okay? I still have... So if I'm going to rank this among the other Souls-like games that have come out recently, okay? And you'll notice a lot of these have come from the East. Very impressive. I love it, okay? I got Black Myth on top still. I still think Black Myth is the one to beat for me, because the combat was also really good. The bosses were just phenomenal, but it really did have its unique identity. You know what I mean? That this kind of was lacking. So Black Myth on top. I got Lies of P at number 2. I got to play it again. I'm going to play it again before the DLC comes out. I've only done it once. I think I gave that a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed Lies of P. And again, I think the combat in this game is better than Lies of P. Pretty much in every way. I do. But Lies of P also had very compelling looking bosses. way more unique identity and kind of story stuff going on, and the world design was much more compelling and everything. So I got Liza P at number 2. First Berserker comes in the 3 spot. Third place, right under Black Myth, right under Liza P. Then you got First Berserker. And then, if you want to count Stellar Blade, I got that in the 4th spot. Also a really good game, but I got it below this. The combat in this game outmatches a lot of those, but if we're weighing everything into consideration, that's where I'm at. It's the 3rd. So, that's it. It's great. I'm happy it's done. I really am. I'm relieved. I had a good time playing it. Shout out to the dev. Especially, you know, that the fact that it's once again like this kind of lesser known dev, at least to me, coming out of the East with a banger. Can't wait to see what's next. So I'm going to cut it early, you guys. That's where we're at. We managed to put that final boss down with enough time to get this little review in. You know, we don't got time to rank the bosses right now. It'd be like a whole video. So maybe take it to the Discord. We can decide if we want to do a boss rank or not. But right now, I'm done. You guys are the best. I'm glad you enjoyed the game like I did. Or at least enjoyed watching it. And I will catch you next time, you guys. We're going to do a palette cleanse. Tomorrow, we're going to do something just very easygoing and quick. And just chill. We're going to chill. You know what I mean? So everybody have a good night, okay? Meet us in the Discord to hang out. I'll see you tomorrow. I think same time, same place, you guys. You guys are the best. Sherpa.